Welcome to Weeping Willow Homestead and July's garden tour. So if you are new, I would recommend going back and watching June's garden tour because I'll explain things a little bit more in depth in that one. Today's just going to be kind of an update on how things are growing. So this is the kitchen garden, and please excuse the gardens. They are a bit of an overgrown mess this time of year, especially this year with life happening for the last month big time. I have not gotten as much weeding done as I would like to, but they're still growing, and even through the weeds, the vegetables will grow. So down here is still the lettuce that has gone to seed. I will start collecting seeds off of it soon. Once it goes to... So it makes the little pod thingies, and then the pods will floof out and they'll dry. Let's see if I can show you. The seeds are in there, and they are tiny. See that little white thing there? That is a lettuce seed. And in the past, I've also just let them drop their seed right there, and then we have a fall planting of lettuce that they plant themselves. This is all of the, and yes, weeds. This is all of the snack peppers, and we are starting to get snack peppers setting on. And then back there are the hot peppers, and I have not seen anything much on those yet. They're hot peppers and bell peppers, so they tend to take a little bit longer than these snack peppers though, but the snack peppers are looking amazing. This is supposed to be a whole row, but it didn't end up coming up great, of just jade green beans, and I am just letting them grow and dehydrate, like let them dry out, and I'm going to save them for seed for next year because jade green beans are my favorite. Then we have our fence of tomatoes, cherry tomatoes that I need to get out here and fence up. Like all of these need pulled up off the ground and attached to the fence. But we are getting baby tomatoes starting to form. These I'm unsure of. These were ones that I saved from Aldi seed, and they're starting to look more like Romas. So if they come out as Romas, no big deal. We'll eat them anyway. But yeah, we're starting to see tomatoes forming all over the place on those. All right, hang on just a second. All right, around the tomato fence, we have our zinnias, just a whole beautiful row of them. This is a mix of ones that I grew last year, and I just saved seed off of them. We have some really pretty, these are called candy stripe, and they come in different colors. So like that one's gonna be red and white instead of the red and yellow. There's some in here called Thumbelina, which make just little bitty ones like that guy. Zinnias are just one of my favorite. Oh, look at this. Oh, this one, the color on this one, and the multiple layers on that one. Yeah, zinnias. I mean, come on. Next is zucchini, and they are already getting hit and taken out by the zucchini. What are those called? Bugs. Yeah, I cannot think of what they're called right now. Zucchini beetles or whatever. So these two plants aren't looking great, but those further down are looking okay. And what I will probably do is in the next few days, I'm going to come up and pull this one out completely, reseed, and there is still enough time for zucchini to grow and start producing. And I'm just going to do that, and the bugs will just make their way down the row, and then they'll come and eat that one. Hey, shh. And yeah, it's just part of it. I have tried all kinds of different things, diatomaceous earth and BT and a couple other things, and if I stay on top of getting out here and applying it, it helps. But you have to reapply it like every time it rains. So yeah, I know that there are some organic options like Sawdust that work really well, but I try to grow as organically as possible. And if it means that I don't get like a huge amount of zucchini, it's not the end of the world. We've eaten several different times of having zucchini, and then I have put some in the freezer in the form of shredded for like zucchini breads, and then for like sliced for just use in whatever I use it for. This is where the cabbage was and still is. We have already used up about 10 of the giant heads of cabbage. I need to get out and go ahead and harvest the rest of them because, I mean, I'm not kidding when I say they're huge. They're huge. But something is getting to them down here. You see down in there, and then like that one, it's some little black bug. I'm not sure what's doing it. So I am going to get out here and get the rest of those harvested. I have some giant jar, like half-gallon jars of sauerkraut going, and that's what I will do with the rest of this as well. And then that's the evidence of me pulling out the rest of the radish pods, like the radishes, and then I also pulled weeds in this whole area. I mean, it was like big, tall, standing weeds. And then this is sweet potatoes. So we're going to see, that's literally a sweet potato that I just gave up and stuffed in the ground. But sweet potato vines, just not a whole lot of them, but, you know, something. So they're just kind of fun to grow. So that is, oh, and that's more lettuce that I've let go to seed. And it is laying over beautifully. So I will probably just let it go fully to seed and let it drop its seeds, and then I will pull it all out, and where it's laying, it will self-plant and self-seed, and we'll just have fall lettuce. So, all right, that is the kitchen garden. Let me walk over to the big garden, and I'll be right back. All right, the big kitchen garden. I can hear a guinea squawking behind me. This has been hit or miss as well. Some of it's doing great, some of it not so great. This end is supposed to be my vining plants. I have pretty much nothing. There are spaghetti squash that they started forming, and the squash beetles got to those. We've been having live trap out here because we were having some issues with something eating my plants, and luckily we caught a couple of raccoons, and my husband took care of those, and it's been out here. I don't have feed in it. I usually put cat food in it, but luckily we have not caught anything since then, so I think it was just a couple of, you know, ornery raccoons. Yeah, this is supposed to be pumpkin or watermelon and whatnot. I do have one here. We'll see how it does. It looks kind of stunted. I have never tried growing the vining stuff down on this end of the garden either, so that may be playing into it as well. But yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to even get spaghetti squash off of these. That one's looking okay, so I will probably go ahead and come back out and spray it. This one's looking okay, except for the giant weed that's growing in it. We're getting, but these, because the plant is dying, it won't finish forming. So frustration on that one, because I was really hopeful because those were looking good. This was potatoes, and we need to come out, and the plants have died off. So look at there. This was red potatoes that we got from the food pantry, and they were starting to sprout in my house, in my kitchen. And so the kids and I just came out and planted those one day just on a, hey, let's just do this. So they just pop right out of the ground. Is that not so exciting? So the kids and I are going to come out and get this done this week and harvest those. So I'm super excited about having those. I'm going to cover those back up so that the sun doesn't get to them, because that's important. If the sun gets to them and they start turning green. Weeds. I can't win. And then these are the tomato plants, and they are busting out of their tomato cages because I didn't get out here and get these raked into the tomato cages, but that's okay. They're still going to grow. So I know these two are Wapsipacinicon, I think is how that's pronounced. Then there are 3 pineapple and 3 hillbilly, and then 2 Roma down at the end. And it's always interesting to me the size difference in the big tomatoes and the little Roma tomatoes. They always stay small. So, you know, no big deal, but it's just funny looking at the size difference. So we are going to start getting tomatoes on those soon. And it's been dry, which I think is what's causing these leaves to curl up just a little bit. But they're looking good. Nothing major there, you know. Cucumbers were hit and miss this year. Some of them are starting to get hit by the squash beetles as well. I can't win on those, I know. It's a repeat thing, but we are getting cucumbers off of those. Hey, there's one that needs picked. I like smaller cucumbers. That one's only a day off from being ready. So we are definitely getting cucumbers, and like my kids will eat 3 of them that size for lunch every day or more. Not like each of my kids, but like combined. And I can polish off one of those with some French onion dip, no problem. 'Cause yum. So yeah, some of them are still small and coming up. So I will get out here with that BT. The BT is like some kind of bacteria or like yeast stuff that you can spray on them that's a totally natural, safe for human consumption kind of thing. It just makes the bugs not like it. So, and it does work, but like I said, it has to be reapplied for every time that it rains. So yeah, that's why it doesn't happen. This is a row of flowers. I know there's zinnias, cosmos, marigolds, and nasturtiums, and it was just any seeds that I had on hand, I dumped into a little dish and then planted a row just for the fun of it. I love seeing flowers out in the garden, and it draws in pollinators, so always beneficial. And marigolds is another one that you can plant that will detract the Japanese bean beetles. They don't like the smell of it, so I plant those in with my green beans. And then you can also plant 4 o'clocks, and they actually draw the bean beetles, and the bean beetles will eat the 4 o'clock plant and leave your other plants alone. So that's another useful little one there. This is the row of hot peppers that my friend, well, it's a mixture of peppers. She said some of them were hot, some of them aren't. She has no idea what they are because the seed tray got dropped, and so the like tags got all mixed up. So yeah, it's going to be a mystery grab bag on what those are. Most of those will probably end up donated to the food pantry because we don't like hot peppers besides jalapeno poppers, and even those we don't eat a whole lot of. So and this is actually sawdust, hardwood sawdust that a friend of mine gets. They have a friend that runs a sawmill, and so he lets them come and get literal hoppers full of sawdust. And so they dropped off a hopper full of sawdust for us the other day. And so I got some of that spread. That's like 5 wheelbarrow loads, I think, is how much that row was. And I barely put a dent in it. So that's on the list of things to do, is to pull the weeds and then hoe and lay down sawdust. It's not 100%. You can see a little weed poking up through there, but it helps it. Yeah, it's a fight, y'all. And then our sweet corn is doing great. It is starting to tassel out and form ears. So the kids are excited about that. This is a bicolor, and I don't know what the name of it is. Some friends gave it to us last year. And I just saved a seed from last year. So that's an experiment to see whether the field corn cross-pollinated with it or not. We're going to find out. Green beans are jamming. I picked 2.5 5-gallon buckets this morning off of this. And I am going to take that tomorrow to the food pantry to donate. I think tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow to donate. So my goal is to, every time that I have to pick them right before a food pantry, is to pick them and donate. And that's, I planted enough extra that I can do that and still have plenty enough for us to eat fresh and can and freeze. So yeah, they are jamming and doing amazing, and there are so many blooms on these. It's like amazing how much more there is to come. Picking green beans is fun. My back hurts. And then the last thing is, yes, those are huge. These are what are called Russian mammoth sunflowers. They get upwards of 10 feet tall, and I'm wanting to say they can be even taller than that. So I am 5.5 foot tall, so I'm 5'5" ish, and that's my height compared to they're still going. And they're just barely even starting to set on heads on some of them, so you can tell they're gonna get massive. It's so much fun to plant these, and then I just leave them and let the birds eat them, and I will pull off heads as they develop and let them dry and give them to the chickens. There are some other varieties, like this little short guy is going to be another variety, and it's starting to set on a head. Well, actually 3 heads there. Look at them baby tiny little sunflower seeds in there. See it? Isn't that cool? So yeah, they are my wall of sunflowers. I would love to, when I get the penitentiary garden beds done and functional, I would love to plant those to sunflowers, or I've thought about if we get the garden doubled like the intention is. So my intention is to have double of this size garden. That's where the chickens are right now. There. So my intention is to do that, and I would love to have a giant patch of sunflowers. For the sake of saving some sunflower seeds for the chickens to eat, and then just because it's pretty, that would be the one benefit of having the extra size garden, is I would be able to plant some things that I don't right now because of space. The things that are for fun, like giant sunflower patch, or I would love to plant, I don't know, just some other things like more potatoes, things that I just, yeah, I don't know. It's a work in progress, because obviously I am overwhelmed sometimes with the size of the garden now, with the amount of weeds that are coming up, with keeping on top of that. That maybe doing that is a bad idea. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I always just plant enough sweet corn for the kids to eat on through the summer. And then usually there's not enough to put up any in the freezer, and that's fine. We're not big corn eaters, like corn on the cob during the summer, and that's it. Other than that, we really don't eat corn during the year. So yeah, that is the garden for July. It's growing, whether I want it to or not, weeds included. But I am super thankful that we have this space and the ability to do it, even if it does get weedy. And I'm super thankful that it is growing well, and that we already have enough to bless others with. I'm really hopeful that the cherry tomatoes go gangbusters, because I will donate a bunch of those. I really hope that those peppers do well, because I will donate a bunch of those. I know how blessed we are to have 2 acres out in the country. We worked our butts off. We pay our mortgage, all that kind of stuff. But we were super blessed to find this house, because when we went looking on our budget, we knew we were looking for a needle in a haystack, and we found it. The house is ridiculously small for the number of people that we have, but, we make it work. So, it's one of those where I know how blessed we are to be able to grow. And so I really want to be able to pass those blessings on in any way that I can. And like the other day when we were gone, I had a friend come over. Well, we were gone for the weekend, this past weekend, and green beans needed picked. And so I sent her a message and said, hey, do you want these green beans? Do you want to come pick them? And she's like, yes. So she came and picked a whole 5-gallon bucket full. So yeah, I am thankful that we are blessed to be able to have this, and I love being able to pass that blessing on as much as possible. So, all right, I have a toddler that is wanting me. So thank you so much for watching this. Tell me how your garden is growing in the comments. What's the things that are jamming and the things that are failing? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye and God bless.